Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day, and say to yourself, it's not over until I win.
What one great thing would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail? If you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that you could not fail, what one thing would you set as a goal for yourself? Because sometimes answering that question will tell you the one thing that you've been put on this earth to accomplish.
That there is hope. That if you want to change, you can change. Because I believe that every single one of us is far more capable than we allow ourselves to believe. And that right underneath our feet is a vast reservoir of untapped potential, just yearning to be released.
What the hell are we all waiting for to start attacking life? We're waiting for the stars to align. Back when I was growing up, the sun came out. All I need is a miracle. Well, guess what? That miracle ain't coming. There is no perfect time to start. You gotta start now with changing your life.
When I believe I can do something, if I look at something and I believe I can do it, I know I can do it.
Your biggest enemy is you. My whole book is about you battling yourself. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
What do you want to do with your life? Because you got one life. It's going by quickly, and this is something that you need to get on it. You need to be in here every day. You're almost out of time. You're 22, you're late. Because I realized I saw a lot of people that didn't have any sense of urgency in their life.
Struggle doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It usually means you're on a real one, right? Struggle doesn't mean you're making a mistake. Struggle could mean that you have a lot to learn to get to this goal. If you give up because something's hard, it means you didn't care enough about the thing.
I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you. You have something special. You've got greatness in you, but you've got to be hungry. What do you mean by that? People that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. They're willing to study. They're willing to challenge themselves. They're willing to go outside of their comfort zone. Why is that important? Because in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. You've got to die to who you are now to give birth to who you were chosen out of 400 million sperm to become.
Those experiences, I think, remind you that my job is to keep my eye on the ball and to stay focused on what can we get done every single day to advance the vision and the values that brought me here.
People change when the pain of their circumstances exceeds the fear of finally doing something different. So that's how I think about rock bottom. When you're in that space, you're birthed with a willingness that you didn't have prior. Your rock bottom is what you decided to be. Because if the elevator's going down, there is no ground level. It can always go further down until you're dead.
I have huge ambitions and huge goals, and I feel like I'm somebody with high energy and frequency and somebody with a lot of potential that can achieve a lot of big things, yet I sit here not doing the very things that I know I should be doing, because are they really the things that I should be doing?
And I sat there and said, this is my life. I said, this is my life. You are exactly who this is it. And I said, this ain't gonna be it for me. So in that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody. I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth.
The only thing that makes us feel alive is growth. You know, when you grow, then you have something to give. And when you give, then your life is more meaningful than just, pleasure. But it's never gonna be the same as when you have something that's larger than you that you're called to. It's like, I get in a business for impact, and economics are second.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, there is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward.
Never, and I mean never, let yourself play the victim. That's where you lose your power. Life is not fair, you're right. But sitting around wishing it was, sitting around all the guys flocked to you instead of your sister, sitting around wishing it was you on those European vacations, it's not going to get you anywhere. You can't change what's happening around you. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you will feel. So my advice is move on. Stop focusing on what you think is fair and trust where your life is leading you. And
you can believe you're not worthy of a thing and still attain it. You can be adamant that your efforts are going to go badly and still succeed. You can grip and grasp and fear and it ruin the enjoyment and be totally unwarranted and things still go well. You can have no self-belief and show up anyway. You can want more for yourself without knowing exactly what that looks like. You can doubt the process, question your talent, be uncertain that you're making progress, disparage your accomplishments, permanently feel like you're not working hard enough no matter how hard you work, never give yourself a break, fail to fully feel gratitude, be terrified of never reaching your goals, and still end up in a place that your 20-year-old self could not imagine.
The people I see winning in life don't have a perfect plan. They just take the first step and then the next, and then they keep going. They stay obsessed and they stay consistent.
Struggle doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It usually means you're on a real one, right? Struggle doesn't mean you're making a mistake. Struggle could mean that you have a lot to learn to get to this goal. If you have something you really value, don't change what you value, change the path to get there. Pain isn't proof of misalignment. It's proof you're growing. It's proof it matters. And ultimately, it reveals to you whether it matters enough.
And he said you can't necessarily escape the suffering, so you might as well choose something in life to do that is worth suffering for. Because not doing anything at all out of fear or out of uncertainty will also make you suffer. Because you know that there's something inside of you that wants to do said thing.
Are you settling or are you moving mountains? And I really like that. Because whenever I'm looking at these choices that I feel sometimes feel bad, I'm like, is there another option that I could see if I move the fucking mountain? Most things are hilariously easy to do. It's just more easy. It's easier to just do nothing. Most people do nothing and get nothing and are dissatisfied because their expectations that they would get something for that nothing of work. What's crazy is that the highest levels of effort are so rare amongst people that you can unlock most things in the universe with it by just really trying like your life depends on it. Because it does.
Everything is your fault.
Yeah, you can explain it.
Everything is your fault comes back to you are the CEO of your life. He said, Rob, if you get to the end of your life and it's not what you wanted it to be, and you didn't create the life that you wanted to, make the money that you wanted to, have the success, the love, the happiness, travel the places that you wanted to, whose fault would it be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, if you did create the life that you wanted to, had the love, the happiness, the abundance, everything that you wanted, whose fault would that be? And I said, it'd be my fault. And he said, the problem with you is you're treating this life as if you're the victim. And what you need to realize that everything that happens to you is your fault, and that your life won't change until you decide that you want to be the CEO of your life.
And so whoever I blame for the life I have is the person who I give all the power over my existence, over my circumstances. And so it hurts, but if you turn the finger inwards and you start saying, I don't like my life. The person that I need to punish or get back at is the real person who got me here, which is me. And the only person who's in control of that is you. It doesn't matter if a nuclear bomb went off, but all you see is a straight line, completely undisturbed by the things that are going around them. Because you can beat 99% of people without being smarter or luckier, but by being willing to endure pain and uncertainty for longer. It's hard for you, it's hard for everyone else. And most people avoid hard things, which is why you can beat most people by just trying and continuing to try. And the main thing is that I think most people don't even know what trying feels like.
Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just remind myself, This is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. Building a business is hard. Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like, and this is why most people can't do it, but you can. This is what hard feels like.
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
Idea, because right now many of you are creating stories that you tell yourselves to make yourself feel better about why your product isn't as good as it should be, but you have an excuse that only you need to believe. And you believe that excuse, so it excuses you from working harder on the stuff you know you should be doing but aren't.
Kobe Bryant practiced at 4 a.m. when no one was watching. Warren Buffett sat in a quiet room in Omaha reading. 80% of his day was spent studying financial statements, reports, and books. They trained while no one was watching. They built without broadcasting. They worked in silence so they could rise without noise. So, whilst everyone is putting pressure on visibility, feel comfortable becoming invisible.
You cannot change your life unless you change something. If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. No matter what it is. Many times you say to yourself, I gotta lose weight, I'm too fat. And then you know what? During the day you eat at night, and then next day you get mad at yourself. Well, what do you want? What do you want? You gotta change something. Well, a lot of actors, I don't wanna go see that. They feel funny. They don't wanna see a director or see people. I go, no, you gotta try. You gotta get out there. You gotta fake it till you make it. Do something.
If you want to be exceptional, what you're doing right now is average or even below average. And if you want to continue to be average or below average your whole life, then continue doing this. But you need to make a serious change and start doing hard shit and letting go of the easy shit, the comfortable, pleasurable shit. Abstain from that to make a better version of yourself.
You can learn anything you want as long as you're willing to look dumb in front of other people for an extended period of time. I think the most underrated money-making habit is being willing to look stupid. Because one of the surest ways to never succeed in life is to avoid looking dumb, is to avoid failing. And what's really interesting about this is that risk is guaranteed. And so there's this thing that people have this misconception, this fallacy about how life works, which is they want to avoid risk. But the thing is that all great things come with risk.
Fellas, you'll not get there if you quit, if you just say, forget it. I can't be the man that I wanted to be. Well, of course you're not right now. You will not be the man that you want to be until you grow into it. You have to grow into it.
I actually think the greatest consequence in life is not keeping commitments to yourself. And I think that compounds to, as we talked about, where does beliefs come from? I think it compounds as personal evidence, which is deposited in this instruction manual of who you are and how you behave and how you show up and what you're capable of. All those tiny little commitments. And then I think you can get into a downward commitment spiral because of that, because you think you're you
don't have faith in your own word.
If you start walking and you figure out after 2 days that you're in you went the complete wrong direction, that's fine. Now you know which direction that you can't go, or you at least tried a direction and you know that it's not the direction that you need to go in. So now you turn around and you start walking out and going the other way. So basically the whole idea is to just take action. You find out through doing, not by thinking.
Nobody tells you to go in the room and write. You have to do it. It's the things you do on your own that matter, not the things you're forced to do. Okay? If you change your life, if you want to change your life, you must change your ways. You must develop discipline. You must develop strength.
We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. The only work that really matters is the work that no one sees. It shows you who you really are rather than who you say you are.
Is know that when no one's watching, I work harder than when they're watching. And thinking about it like that has given me this persistent and ever-present scorecard or third party that's like, no one's watching, which means now you have to work, because otherwise you're full of shit.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. A hierarchy of improvement. You need to be aiming for something. So the question is, who should you defeat in the final analysis? And the answer is, you should defeat your former self. You should be constantly trying to do that. If you're improving yourself, then what you are doing is competing with your lesser self. Personal responsibility is like, well, personal responsibility is to compete with yourself, is to be slightly better than yourself the next day.
Yes.
And
Stop waiting. Time won't invite you. You have to show up anyway. We've been taught to wait for the right time, to wait until we're more qualified, until we have more money, more confidence, more clarity, until the fear goes away, until we're ready, until someone gives us permission, until the timing makes sense. But here's the reality. The right time doesn't show up. You do. The timing won't feel perfect because you're not supposed to feel certain before you grow.
You do not become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Outwork your self-doubt. And ultimately, hoping that you're going to be able to... believing that you can think your way out of a thinking problem is like believing you can sniff your way out of a cocaine addiction, right? You have to give yourself something else that's going to step change where you're at. The bar for excellence has never been so low. Most of your competition quits after the first sign of difficulty because they've never known what hard feels like. If it's hard for you, it's hard for everyone. And most people avoid hard things, which is why you can beat most people by just trying.
I think the vast majority of people don't actually know what it looks like to put tremendous effort into something.
Is to develop a workaholic mentality. In our society today, you hear all these people talking about take it easy, have balance in your life, relax, lean back, have fun at work, happy, get along with your coworkers. This is loser talk. Loser, loser, loser. Now, there's a time in your life when you can back off, all right? You can take it easy. But that's when you've made it, not before you've made it. Because before you've made it, you're in a competition with hundreds of thousands of millions of other people, like at the Olympics, who also want to make it. And in order for you to win, you are going to have to work harder and work better and work smarter than they do.
If you actually want to leave, you actually want to get away from the crime, from the homelessness, from the situations that are being bred in the cities today, leave. Now, sometimes you can't. I'm not totally stupid. Sometimes you can't. But a lot more of you can than can't. Now, it takes courage. It takes courage. It takes sacrifice.
The strongest force in the human personality, for any human being, you, me, doesn't matter. The strongest force is that we need to stay consistent with the way we identify ourselves, right? Identity is the controlling force of a human being. If you are of an identity that says, I always find the way to victory, you will find the victory. What makes people, by the way, miserable is when they feel events control them versus they control events. And all it is a shift in here and here, right?
Success really just boils down to this. You gotta want it more than you hate what it takes to get it. If you're willing to suck at anything for 100 days in a row, you can beat most people at most things.
Therefore, if you believe that nothing's working for you, you will notice all the signs that nothing's working for you. And if you believe that things are moving in your favor, you will notice all the signs that things are moving in your favor. I guarantee you, there was someone you smiled at yesterday and they smiled back. But I also guarantee you, there's someone you looked at the other day, smiled, and they didn't smile back. What you remembered was based on what you noticed. What you notice becomes your reality.
And train it into myself until I built an identity, and this is who I am. And your identity is the strongest force you have. The strongest force in any personality is to stay consistent with your identity. If you think, you're a loser, you find a way to lose. If you're Lance Armstrong and you say your core belief, your identity, not just your belief, is I am a guy that finds the way to victory. Instead of saying it's over, he said, I will find the way, and created Live Strong, and he survived. Identity is the force that controls you, and when you enhance your identity, you enhance your whole life.
Building a business is hard. Hard feels shitty. This is what hard feels like, and this is why most people can't do it, but you can.
Your failure, and then you're getting back up. The man who never failed, has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory.
Wow.
That man has more courage, way more courage than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never failed. There's no glory in that.
And I would rather fall short of a big goal and consider myself a failure than lower the goals to the level which I can accomplish all of them just so I can feel like I'm a success. And it's less about the goal setting, and it's more about the mindset of being okay being the failure. Because what it does is it frees you to imagine bigger, take risks like you never imagined you could before, because failure is not the thing you're afraid of.
Because I know everybody ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me happy what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak.
You didn't miss your shot. You just needed to stop aiming at someone else's timeline. Think about that. You didn't miss your shot. You just needed to stop aiming at someone else's timeline. You didn't miss your chance. You just needed to stop focusing on someone else's deadline. You didn't miss your opportunity. You just needed to stop focusing on other people's doors. One of my favorite quotes is from Imam al-Shafi. He said, "My heart is at ease, knowing what was meant for me will never miss me, and that which misses me was never meant for me."
A blade does not become strong. It does not become tempered until it's been through the fire. Until it's been through the fire several times. And this is just your first or second time through the fire. And there's a lot of hammer work that has to take place.
I remember just looking at him and I was like, dare greatly. Like, what's the point? Like, if we f up, we die trying. You know what I mean? Like, so what? But like, we're gonna still fight like hell to try and make it happen. Well, what if people don't take you seriously? I don't think people are gonna not take me seriously. Because people will take you as serious as you take yourself. And if you are serious about your goals and your commitment to those goals, people can visibly observe. There is no one that will fault you for daring greatly, period. And anyone who does, doesn't matter.
How could I be successful faster? And he said simply, he said, double your rate of failure. If you want to be successful faster, fail more often. It says the more you fail, the more likely you are to succeed. The less you fail, the less likely you are to succeed. So the key is, if you want to be successful, don't be afraid of failure. Failure makes you strong. There's an old saying that what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. Failure has made you strong. Failure has developed your character. It's failure that makes us strong, but it's the fear of failure that kills us. And the way that you deal with the fear of failure is, once you've decided what your dreams are and what you want to do, act as if it were impossible to fail. Imagine it were impossible to fail. Say, by gum, I can do that, and just start to think of all the benefits of achieving that goal, and then act boldly. Confront your fears. Do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain.
I will not accept second best outcomes in my life. Ultimately, you will end up wherever is acceptable to you. You will get out of life whatever is acceptable to you. And there are certain things to me that are very, very important where I will not settle for second best. But then there are a lot of other things I just don't care about. Because if I spend all my time caring about those things, I don't have the energy for the few things that matter. And so in decision making, I have a few heuristics for myself. Other people can use their own, but mine are, if you can't decide, the answer is no. If you're offered an opportunity, if you have a new thing that you're saying yes or no to that is a change from where you're starting, the answer is by default always no.
The curse of the winner is not that he aims too high and misses,
but that he shoots too low and he achieves his goal. And I think that you can't have your own respect if you know that you left some in the tank, which is why going bigger and asking yourself, am I capable of this, is the only way that you can ever truly see. And you can only do that if you're willing to fail.
And my personal question to you is, why not you? You've got the brains, you can make decisions, you can study the plan, you can change your life, you can grow immensely in the next few years, you can make your dreams come true, you can build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through, you can become healthy, you can become powerful. Why not you?
And then life is going to pull you out and it's going to put you on the anvil and it's going to hammer on you some more. And you're going to say, what, am I done yet? Am I a sword for the ages? No. No, you're not. You're not done yet.
Gaff, your lifetime on this planet is limited, and look at what it's cost you in the past, look at what it's costing you now, look at what it will cost you in the future, look at where you could be. You're wasting your time. You've got 4,000 weeks, and how many of them have been spent on this particular situation? There is an endless number of ways that you can berate yourself. It's scary when you find a thing that you're going to fully commit yourself to the pursuit of, especially if it's excellence that you're going after, because there's no more room for your inadequacies to hide anymore. You can't decide to change direction and do something else if things get tough. There's no more ejector seat, right? I've committed to this. This is my thing. And this is one of your rules. Commit to something
commit to at least one thing
as hard as you can, and see what happens.
The moment you take action, your life will change. The moment you take action, clarity replaces confusion. The moment you take action, momentum begins. The moment you take action, the right time finally arrives. The moment you take action, you stop waiting for permission. Notice how affirmation and action together creates alignment. Affirmation on its own is wishful thinking. Action on its own doesn't feel like it's fueled with a higher way of living.
Find a way to win. You want to prove everybody wrong? Then win. You want to change you and your family's life forever? Then win. Fuck your emotions, fuck your sob story, because nobody cares until you win. So find a way to win.
It's not over until I win. Got that right. It's not over till I win. Not over till I get through. It's not over till I get over. Not over till I get what I want. Door can't open today, look out. I'm gonna come back and take the hinges off. That's how you gotta do that. You've got to have that kind of courage, that type of determination.
I want to talk to you because I've never seen a student in my 30 years who can stand in front of all these other kids and mesmerize and hold their attention for 30 or 45 minutes and influence them. He said, you have a gift. And I'm looking at him like he's crazy. He says, there's something about how much you care and something about your intensity, something about your style. I have a speech here that I'd like you to read, and if it appeals to you, he said, I think this is your life. I read this story, the title was The Will to Win, and it was my life. It was like, I could cry just thinking about it. It was so intense. I'm reading it and crying, just going, I'm only here still, all that I've been through because of my pure will that I will not give up.
From now on, whenever you see a barrier or wall, or you think of anything you want to do or be, you say, wait a minute here. I'm unstoppable. Nothing stops me. And you know something? You will develop yourself to the point where nothing does. Cause and effect, going right back to what we talked about. Mental attitudes and personality are determined by things that we do. And there are certain things that you can do consistently every single day. And in so doing them, you'll build your self-confidence up and up and up to the point where you become unstoppable.
I can never leave the gym knowing I have 5% left. And 5% is magic. It's the magic place where very few people go. You can go there. I'm giving you permission to go there. We'll have people behind you. If you fall down and drop the weight on the floor, who cares? Who cares? But if you make it, I care. I want that. I want you to fail, and I want you to get up and do it again. The same thing in life is the same thing here. If you can do this, you can do anything. Anything.
It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in.
means it's time for you to go on the war path. And that starts with one of the fundamental laws of combat leadership: prioritize next. What's the biggest problem? What's causing the most stress? Family? Okay. Sit them down. Explain where you are at. Be blunt, be upfront, and then give them the simple plan of how you're going to get things back on track. Don't sugarcoat it. You give it to them straight.